Alright, so I'm here to talk about taxes because honestly, we're getting ripped off. We're all used to seeing our paychecks get chopped up by taxes and wondering where does all the money go? But the more you look into it, the more you realize it's all bullshit. The US government is taxing us on damn near everything, while inflation continues to skyrocket and the housing market's in shambles. So, what's the deal? Well, in this video, we're going to be breaking down all the ways the US taxes us, why it's so unfair, and how we're getting our cheeks brutally clapped by the government because of inflation and the current state of this economy. So, let's start with the obvious one, income tax. Every time you get paid, you're hit with a chunk that's just gone. But here's where it gets interesting. Income tax isn't even a flat rate. The US has a progressive tax system, meaning the more you make, the higher your tax rate goes. So, if you get a decent job, you're looking at paying anywhere from 10% to 37%, depending on your income bracket. Then that leads to more taxes on your income from state taxes, where every state has its own set of rules, so even if you're lucky enough to escape federal taxes, your state's still going to find a way to make you pay those higher taxes elsewhere. So either way, they are getting more than their fair share of your money. So, why complain about this? We all work hard to earn our money, and then the government takes a cut of it just because we exist. And after all that, what do we get? Bad roads, unaffordable healthcare, and a dogshit corrupt school system that is literally failing children in every aspect today. I even cover this in one of my previous videos, which I will leave in the description about how the school system sucks. But then, of course, there's sales tax. You know, that little fee added onto everything you buy? It feels like no matter what you're doing, there's always some extra fee to make sure you're paying the government for living in this country. And that's honestly bullshit. Now, sales tax is actually different depending on where you live. Some states don't charge sales tax, but most of us are paying anywhere from 5% to 10% on nearly every purchase. That means every time you buy something, you're essentially paying an additional fee to the government, which they then use to do what? Fix our roads, support local businesses? If only they actually did those things, right? The last 4 years, our money has been squandered overseas and blown on stupid, useless policies that only further put money into the rich elite's pockets. And then there's property tax, the big one. You can't even own a house without getting taxed on it. Every year, the government comes in and says, "You still owe us money for that house you worked so hard to buy." Yeah, that's right. Property tax means that even though you've paid off your house, if you're lucky nowadays, you still owe money to the government every year just for the privilege of owning something that's yours. If you think you've worked hard enough to pay for your home and now you can just chill, think again. They're gonna come knocking for property tax, and if you don't pay it, guess what happens? Foreclosure. They'll literally take your home from you if you can't keep up with the tax bill. Just imagine paying $1 million for a home over like 40 years. Then you get laid off from your job and you just lose your house. Like, that is literally probably happening to some boomers right now because they were arguably the biggest consumers of all time. And this just shows how bullshit the system is. And let's be real, in a time when housing prices are out of control and rents through the roof, paying property tax on top of everything is just a slap in the face. It's like the government saying you can never truly own anything. And they want us to just be happy paying pointless bills while nothing in our country changes, except for the inflation rate, of course. And how could we forget the gas tax? You're literally paying the government every time you drive. This one's especially wild because gas prices have skyrocketed thanks to inflation, and guess what? The government just keeps taxing it. You're already paying high prices at the pump because of supply issues, and then you get taxed on top of that. So, what happens? People who need their cars to go to work or to live are now having to deal with higher costs and even more taxes. And this feels like we're being taxed just for existing in society. And if you drive, you're paying up. As simple as that. Which means literally everyone who has a job is paying this. Like, how else are you going to get to work? So, Literally, your reward for contributing to society right now is getting to pay all these taxes that you gain zero benefits from. And then they wonder, why is Gen Z not happy with all this? It's like, yeah, okay, we don't want to live in delusion our whole lives like the boomers did and be okay with this modern day taxation without any representation. And here's where things get even worse. The housing market. We've all seen it. Inflation is insane, and the housing market is just a nightmare. Housing prices are up, rent is up, and most people can't afford a home at all. But guess what? The government's not doing anything to help out with that. Instead of making homes more affordable, they're increasing taxes, and some cities are charging higher property taxes on homes that are already way overpriced. And it's not like anyone's out there building affordable housing either. So we get stuck paying astronomical prices to live in places that are barely worth the price. You're taxed on a home that you can barely afford, not to mention how hard it is to save up for a down payment nowadays, because everything's just so expensive. And it's like the government wants us to fail. They put us in debt, they raise prices, and they sit back and act like everything's fine and gaslight us on the media, which is actually crazy to me. And then, of course, there's inflation, which now, this isn't technically a tax, but in many ways it acts like one. Everything is more expensive, from food to rent to healthcare, and it's literally like you're paying more for everything while your paycheck stays the exact same. And the worst part, the government doesn't do enough to address it. Like, instead of fixing the issue, they act like it's just part of the system, and that's just the way life is. But guess what? This isn't just part of the system. It's the system screwing you over. They inflate the economy, raise costs, and then leave you with less to live on. It's like the government's silent tax, and it's taking money away from everyone, especially those who already can't afford to pay higher costs as is. I can only imagine what some people are going through now. But look, it's clear we're getting taxed on everything while the cost of living keeps rising, wages stay stagnant, and the housing market gets more unaffordable by the day. And the worst part? The government just keeps taxing us while they do nothing to fix the problems they've caused. From the income tax to property tax to sales tax, it feels like the system is designed to keep us from getting ahead. To be honest, we deserve better than this. We need a system that works for us and not against us. We need affordable housing, decent wages, and a government that actually listens to its people. Because right now, it feels like we're being taxed to death, and it's time that needs to stop. But anyways, guys, if you think the taxes are all bullshit like I do, leave a like on this video, maybe even subscribe. I got more videos planned in the future. But anyways, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.